There are places on Earth that will make you question your own eyes. A boiling lake deep in the jungle with heat rising like the breath of an active volcano. A pit of fire in the middle of the desert that has been burning for over half a century without going out. A city left completely abandoned because of an invisible, odorless threat. And near the end of our journey, there's a strait where you can literally see tomorrow in the dead of night. These aren't sets built for a sci-fi movie. These are the most extreme corners of our planet. Here, ice, fire, radiation, water, rock, and even human error have created places so impossible. It's hard to believe they actually exist. And our first stop looks like the absolute edge of existence. Along the western coast of Namibia, there's a place whose very name serves as a warning: the Skeleton Coast. The Skeleton Coast is known as a graveyard for stranded ships. Thick fog constantly blankets the shoreline, erasing the horizon and turning the ocean into a massive trap. As a result, over 1,000 shipwrecks are scattered along the coastline. The shore is littered with rusting hulls, along with whale and seal bones baking in the sand, creating a truly macabre graveyard scene. But the paradox is that in this so-called dead zone, life still finds a way. There are colonies of seals, flocks of seagulls, and desert lions hunting seals along the beach. How on earth do they survive? Our next destination is bizarre in a completely different way. It's so beautiful you might think it's a pathway built for a movie. This is Tanah Barak Beach, located in Kaieteur, South Kuta. With an entrance carved straight through the coastal limestone cliff. From above, this road looks like a bright, clean-cut slicing right through the rock, leading straight out to the ocean. There is nowhere else with a road quite like this. What makes this road so unique are the sheer, rough cliffs on either side. In the middle, a tiny stream of cars drives through a massive stone corridor. This spot has become an iconic landmark, even more famous than the actual beach at the end of the road. Here, you literally have to walk through a crack in the earth before touching the Bali Sea. Leaving that tropical coast behind, we head to a place that strips the concepts of day and night of almost all meaning. We're in Antarctica, the coldest place on Earth. With temperatures regularly hovering below minus 50 degrees Celsius. And occasionally hit an extreme low of about minus 82.8 degrees Celsius, minus 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet believe it or not, humans have chosen to live here. Most notably at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, a scientific research base operated by the United States. The station is built at an elevation of 2,835 meters on a continuous ice sheet that shifts about 10 meters every year. What's incredible is that the people living here have to endure 6 months during which the sun never set, followed by 6 months of darkness that completely swallows the horizon. The South Pole Station is proof that humanity can carve out an existence in a place practically designed to reject life. And if Antarctica is extreme for its dry cold, in India, there is a place extreme in the opposite direction. A place with a sky that seemingly never stops falling. In the state of Meghalaya, India, there is a village whose identity is practically defined by rain. Its name is Mawsynram, one of the wettest places on Earth, receiving an astonishing 11,400 millimeters of rainfall a year. But the strangest thing is that the locals here don't fight nature. They've learned to live with it. Over generations, living root bridges have been woven from tree roots, growing slowly in the rain, becoming stronger and more resilient as the years pass. In Mawsynram, water doesn't just fall from the sky. It shapes the road, the way of life, and the very way people cling to this drenched land. The most impossible location of all might just be this massive wound in the middle of Siberia, the Mirny mine, Russia. The concentric rings spiraling around the pit make it look like a colossal, majestic arena. The Mirny mine is about 525 meters deep and over 1.2 kilometers wide. Large enough to swallow your entire field of vision from the very first glance. The Mirny mine was once the first and largest industrial open pit diamond mine of the former Soviet Union. Today, it sits right next to the city of Mirny, making the surrounding buildings look like tiny toys next to an artificial abyss. When the open pit mine was active, massive trucks had to crawl along the spiral road from the rim down to the bottom, with a single round trip taking about 2 hours. The Mirny mine is proof that humans can leave scars on the earth so massive they feel almost surreal. From the colossal crater of Mirny, our journey descends to a freshwater lake that carries the soul of an ocean. Lake Superior, the largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area, stretching between the United States and Canada. Covering roughly 31,700 square miles, the lake is so vast that you can't even see the opposite shore from land. The water here is famously cold and clear. Sometimes so clear that the rocks at the bottom look like they're sitting right beneath a sheet of glass. But beneath that quiet surface, Lake Superior has a way of moving just like a real ocean. The Sage phenomenon can cause the water in the lake to slosh back and forth, as if an invisible hand were tilting a giant basin. But the next silence doesn't belong to nature, it belongs to a dead zone, Chernobyl. This is the exclusion zone formed after the nuclear disaster on April 26, 1986. When the Chernobyl reactor was destroyed and radiation leaked into the environment. Covering roughly 2,600 square kilometers, it created a massive, abandoned territory in Central Europe. Inside that exclusion zone is Pripyat, a city of over 49,000 residents who had to evacuate in just a few days. Leaving behind rusting buildings, schools, and a Ferris wheel, standing completely still amidst the forest. Further out is the Red Forest, a woodland devastated by high doses of radiation that killed off swaths of pine trees. The most haunting thing about Chernobyl isn't what you can see, but what you can't. Radiation has no color, no smell, yet it's powerful enough to turn an entire region into a place where humans can no longer live as they once did. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying mark left by humanity is the absence of humanity itself. In the second half of our journey, there's a city even more suffocating than Chernobyl. It's sky heavy with industry, yet people still live right beneath it. But before we get there, we're visiting a place that's even more physically bizarre. a lake made not of water, but of asphalt. From a distance, this place looks more like a scorched wasteland than a lake. But beneath that seemingly frozen crust is a mass of natural asphalt that is still slowly, silently moving. Pitch Lake covers about 100 acres, 41 hectares, is about 76 meters deep at its center, and holds roughly 10 million tons of pitch. What makes this place so unbelievable is that objects once swallowed by the surface can appear, disappear, and then rise again over time. Ancient tree trunk, prehistoric remains, and fresh patches of asphalt bubbling up make Pitch Lake look like the black stomach of the earth. But if Pitch Lake silently swallows everything into the black earth, another location features an earth that can literally explode right next to human life. This is the highest and largest active stratovolcano in Europe. Located on the island of Sicily, and famous for its frequent eruptions. But what's hard to believe is that right below its slopes, life hasn't retreated. On the black volcanic soil, people still grow grapes, olives, pistachios, and orchards right at the foot of the mountain. Volcanic ash and pumice contribute to incredibly fertile soil, allowing vineyards to thrive right on top of old lava flows, setting the stage for distinctive local wines. The absurdity of Mount Etna goes even further. This mountain also hosts 2 ski resorts located right on the slopes of a volcano that still erupts regularly. Leaving Europe's largest volcano, we enter the realm of the undisputed king of waters, the Amazon River. The river with the largest water discharge in the world. Pouring a colossal volume of water from the Andes into the Atlantic Ocean. Despite its massive scale, there is not a single bridge crossing the main channel of the river. And transportation across it relies entirely on boats and ferries. Every flood season, the river doesn't just rise, it spills into the jungle, turning tree trunks, trails, and the very ground into a world that's half river, half forest. The calm backwaters support the growth of the Victoria Amazonica water lily, with leaves that can reach about 3 meters in diameter and support a significant amount of weight. Beneath the murky surface exists an ecosystem that includes black caimans growing up to 6 meters long, and electric eels capable of discharging 860 volts. If the Amazon is the pinnacle of thriving life, our next destination will challenge you with a desolate and harsh wasteland, Lop Nur. This place used to be a massive lake on the edge of the Tarim Basin, but by 1962, Lop Nur had completely dried up. Lop Nur is one of the driest regions on the Eurasian continent. Seen from above, the salt streaks and ancient shorelines look like the scars of a lake that has vanished from the map. But what makes Lop Nur even more desolate is that this area was once used as a nuclear test site, serving as the location for China's first atomic bomb detonation on October 16th, 1964. Lop Nur, a dead lake and a place where exhausted nature meets the most dangerous history of mankind. Our echoing roar from miles away invites us to plunge into another wild wonder. Deep in the lush rainforest of Kaieteur National Park, the Patara River suddenly plunges off a cliff, creating a massive wall of water 226 meters high. Kaieteur falls in almost a single, powerful, and decisive drop, as if the entire river were cut straight from the earth. From above, the white curtain of water crashes down into the vast Amazonian jungle, while humans appear as mere specks on the edge of the abyss. What makes this place so epic isn't just its height, but its isolation. No cities, no highways, just forest, rock, mist, and the roar of the falls swallowing the space. Kaieteur Falls doesn't need a lot of showmanship. Just one single drop is enough to silence the entire jungle before the raw power of nature. Leaving the pristine paradise behind, do you dare set foot in one of the most isolated and polluted cities on the planet? Welcome to Norilsk, a major city located deep inside the Arctic Circle, where the winter isn't just cold. But blankets, houses, streets, and people in snow, wind, and prolonged darkness. During the harshest months, blizzards can turn apartment blocks into opaque concrete monoliths amidst the whiteout. But the suffocation of Norilsk also comes from the industrial smokestacks constantly pumping smoke into the grey sky. Welcome to Norilsk, a major city located deep inside the Arctic Circle. featuring a winter that isn't just cold. Norilsk is a harsh experiment, a place where life is forced to exist amidst ice, metal, and air that is heavy to the point of choking. But that's not the ultimate end of suffocation. Death Valley in the USA is even more extreme. This is one of the hottest and driest places on the planet, where the sunlight doesn't just blanket the ground, it feels like it's pressing the entire valley down under its heat. Norilsk is a harsh experiment. A place forcing life to exist amidst ice, metal, and air that is heavy to the point of choking. But at Racetrack Playa, some rocks have left long trails behind them, as if they've been sliding across the desert all on their own when no one was looking. This is one of the hottest and driest places on the planet, with sunlight that doesn't just blanket the ground but feels like it's pressing the entire valley down under its heat. The ground, the rocks, and the sand here all have bizarre ways of making you question exactly what you're looking at. The impossibility is pushed to the absolute limit when we reach Annapurna, Nepal, where every step can cost you your life. Annapurna is a massive snow-capped massif standing over 8,000 meters tall. But the altitude isn't the scariest thing here. What makes this name so haunting is its fatality rate, which is among the highest of all the Himalayan peaks. On these stark, white, icy slopes, beauty and death share almost the exact same frame. Just one crack in the snow, a falling chunk of ice, or a sudden avalanche can wipe out an entire climbing route in seconds. Annapurna isn't like a mountain to be conquered, it's like a life or death test, where nature makes humans pay the ultimate price for every meter they ascend. From the high mountains, let's descend to a body of water older than human history itself, Lake Baikal. This is the oldest and deepest freshwater lake in the world, plunging to about 1,700 meters and holding nearly 20% of the planet's unfrozen freshwater. Annapurna isn't like a mountain to be conquered. It's like a life or death test, forcing humans to pay the ultimate price for every meter they ascend. Beneath that ice, methane and hydrate gases from the lake bed bubble up, creating clusters of bubbles trapped in the ice like strange signals from a world below. The most unique thing is that on top is silent ice, while below is an ancient abyss of water that is still breathing. Another lake that is the complete opposite of Lake Baikal, where the surface is boiling like a giant cauldron. This is Boiling Lake, located in Morne Trois Pitons National Park, surrounded by humid volcanic terrain and dense green jungle. Looking from the edge, the greyish-blue water constantly churns, with white steam rising so thick it sometimes completely hides the lake bed. The absurd thing is that this isn't a normal hot spring, but a flooded fumarole, a place where volcanic gases and heat from beneath the earth escape through cracks. The water temperature at the edges usually hovers around 90 degrees Celsius, 194 degrees Fahrenheit, while the centre is far too violent to measure directly. Surrounding it is the Valley of Desolation, where boiling mud, hot springs, fumaroles, and the smell of sulphur turn the tropical rainforest into an almost alien landscape. In a few scenes, we'll encounter a body of water even more terrifying than Boiling Lake. One that once flooded the plains and claimed the lives of millions. Before we reach that river, our journey takes us to the most unforgiving peninsula in Russia, the Yamal Peninsula. On this frozen tundra, the Nenets people still live a nomadic life with their reindeer herds, as if they are walking along the very edge of the world. Here, home isn't a fixed point, it's a chum tent that can be dismantled, rebuilt, and moved along with the herd. Another lake that is the complete opposite of Lake Baikal features a surface boiling like a giant cauldron. In the midst of the modern world, Yamal maintains an almost primal rhythm of life. No surrounding cities, no paved roads leading the way, just ice, animal hides, tent smoke, and the breath of reindeer in the freezing cold. The Yamal Peninsula isn't a place where humans fight against nature. It's a place where humans learn to become a part of that harshness. Heading up to the peaks of the Himalayas, where a mountain bears a chilling name, Nanga Parbat, the Killer Mountain. Surrounding it is the Valley of Desolation, in which boiling mud, hot springs, fumaroles, and the smell of sulphur turn the tropical rainforest into an almost alien landscape. The problem isn't the altitude. The problem is that almost every route up the mountain seems to be actively trying to push people back down. To the south, the Rupel face rises like a colossal wall of ice and rock, towering about 4,600 meters from the valley floor to the summit. On this mountain, the weather, ice, falling rocks and altitude don't attack individually. They simultaneously force climbers into a life or death test. Nanga Parbat is like a gateway to peril, where nature asks humanity a very simple question. Do you really want to keep going? Moving to another location, Laguna Verde in Bolivia, a much quieter beauty, but one where life is impossible. At the foot of the Licancabur volcano, the lake appears so turquoise it looks like a misplaced patch of color in the middle of the freezing high-altitude desert. But that vivid green doesn't come from purity. It comes from an extremely high concentration of minerals in the water. Many sources describe Laguna Verde as containing compounds like arsenic, lead, sulfur, and calcium carbonates. And the water color can shift from pale blue to dark emerald green when the wind stirs up the minerals below. Seen from above, it's as beautiful as a toxic gem. Lying motionless among volcanic rocks, white salt, and the scorching sky of the Altiplano. It's exactly that contrast that makes Laguna Verde so unbelievable. A mesmerizingly beautiful lake, yet a place where life cannot easily touch. Returning to Russia, there's a body of water that is still active under its camouflage, Amur Bay. The greyish-white, flat surface you're seeing is actually the sea, looking like an ice field stretching all the way to the horizon. This only happens in winter. Heading up to the peaks of the Himalayas, we encounter a mountain bearing a chilling name, Nanga Parbat, the Killer Mountain. But that's also the most terrifying part. Beneath those tires isn't a road, but freezing, pitch-black seawater. If the ice is just slightly thinner in one small patch, or if a crack opens up under the snow, an entire car can vanish beneath the bay. And in the midst of that cold, the sound of cracking ice echoes like bending metal, reminding you that the sea beneath your feet is still alive, still shifting. If the waters of Amur Bay hide themselves, the next river stands out with terrifying force, having once claimed the lives of millions of Chinese people. This is the Yellow River, nicknamed China's Sorrow. A living ribbon of mud winding through mountains, plains, and ancient settlements. The most impossible thing is that in some downstream sections, silt buildup has actually raised the riverbed higher than the surrounding land. Because of this, when the levees break, the water spills out and crashes down onto the plain like a piece of history being ripped apart. It has caused some of the most horrifying and deadly disasters in history, with the death toll estimated in the millions. That's how the nickname China's Sorrow was born. From ice, fire, deserts, high mountains and abandoned cities to ground that can literally swallow people whole. Each place serves as a reminder that this planet still holds so many things we don't truly understand. Some places are absurdly beautiful. Some places are so dangerous that just looking at them makes you feel incredibly small. But they are all real, existing somewhere out there in this world. And perhaps the most impossible thing isn't that they exist, but how many more places like this